June 24th, 2021, tragedy strikes the Champlain Towers south on the east coast of Florida, and 98 people tragically pass away when the condominium building that they were in collapsed. Fast forward 3 years, and a lot of things have changed as a result of that terrible tragedy, and condo owners should be aware of it, but also need to be aware of everything that has come about as far as legislation that is changing what is happening with condominiums today and moving forward. We're going to talk about it. Now, this year is a really big year when it comes to everything that are the new requirements, the new laws around condominiums. And so December 31st, 2024 is a date that many things need to happen. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what it means for you if you're interested in looking at condos or if you currently own a condominium here in Florida. And so the big first thing is milestone inspections. So had that building had the proper inspections, they would have realized that there were a lot of structural issues that were going on there, and that ultimately led to the collapsing of that building on that tragic day. And so now, moving forward, there are new laws in place that stipulate that all condo buildings need to have a milestone inspection done 30 years after the building was built. And if it's coastal, that is down to 25 years. Now, here's the thing. Those milestone inspections, the cost of those are significant. So it could be as little as $5,000 for small condominiums where it's only a visual inspection. But the more in-depth inspections, we're seeing people say, and we've read a lot on this on the internet as well, that it's $20,000, $30,000 plus for these inspections that are now mandated by the state of Florida that need to take place. And guess who pays for that? You as the condo owner. And then once that first milestone inspection takes place, you also need to remedy any of the issues that came up in that milestone inspection. And then every 10 years thereafter, you're going to be required to have another milestone inspection. So this is not something that's going to come into play one time and then woof, we had to deal with that and now we can move on. This is something that will happen every 10 years. Now, I would anticipate that the first milestone inspection is likely going to be the biggest one, because if there's a long time span between when the building was built and the first milestone inspection, there could be a lot more issues that need to be rectified at that stage. And so it's something, assessments are a thing, and assessments help cover the cost of these milestone inspections and then any repairs that are needed by then. So we have seen there are, a lot of buildings are getting ahead of this as much as they possibly can, but this must be done by December 31st of 2024. Now, the next bit of legislation that came into play might actually be a bigger deal than just the milestone inspection, and this is the structural integrity reserves. What's going on with that? So now, based on the studies, all of the condominiums in the state of Florida must have the proper reserves in place when it comes to the structural items. So the roof, the plumbing, electrical, and other key components in the building, they must be fully funded reserves around these items. Now, how is that any different? Well, in the past, you could have a board vote, an association vote to say, do we want to waive the requirements around these particular reserves? And there were a lot of condominiums who chose that, who said, nope, we don't want to fully fund our reserves. We want to have less than what's mandated by the state. And so therefore, we will have lower dues, and lower dues are also very attractive to people who are looking to purchase real estate. And so a lot of those people who get into that situation do not realize that the board has voted and that the association has voted to waive those reserve rights. Well, guess what happens when those reserves need to be replenished? You guessed it, we've got more assessments that have to be paid. And so the structural integrity reserve, what we're working with here is that everything that needs to be done as far as the study goes, needs to be fully funded by December 31st of 2024. So if you are in a condominium, my guess is there are meetings that are happening right now or have been happening about what those assessments are going to be to make sure that it is fully funded for those particular issues. So this year is a really big year. Now, the other caveat to all of this is that in going forward, starting January 1st of 2025, all budgets must take into account fully funding those reserve items. So again, we cannot vote to say we're not going to fully fund those. So what should we expect? We should expect that there's a lot of pain in the short term for assessments. That's going to be a big problem where we've got to get money from the current owners to be able to fund what's needed to fund in terms of repairs and reserves. That's going to be happening. That's happening right now. And, couple that with a lot of the assessments that happened after Hurricane Ian, and it's just not such a great thing to be a condominium owner right now. The second thing that's going to take place here is that going forward, the dues are likely going to increase, especially if you're in a condominium association that has not been fully funding. It goes without saying that if now you have to fully fund, your dues are going to go up. Plan on higher dues when it comes to condominiums. And so what does all of this mean from a real estate point of view? Now, that's the side of the business that I am in, and I will tell you it creates a bit of, I'll call it, chaos in the condominium market. Who wants to pay these assessments? Nobody, right? And so generally speaking, if you currently own, the new buyer is going to be looking at you for any potential upcoming assessments that are going to be paid and saying, we need you to pay those in order to be able to purchase the property. Now here's the other part of this. The shorelines of Florida are full of condominiums. It makes a whole lot of sense because that real estate is highly valuable, and so we build up instead of sprawling out. That's a problem because we have what people want in terms of location is not what they want in terms of fees and assessments and all of these things. And so I do believe that this is going to have an impact on the amount of inventory, because we're going to have a lot of sellers or a lot of owners who are frustrated with the amount of assessments that they have, and they're just going to want to wipe their hands and be done with the condo associations. So I think inventory will increase. When inventory increases, and potentially, I don't know this factually, but potentially the demand for these will go down some because other people don't want that same amount of challenges when it comes to assessments. Then we've got a supply and demand challenge when it comes to pricing. So it's likely that the pricing of condominiums is going to have a lot of downward pressure as inventory increases, as demand potentially decreases. And so time will tell how all of this goes. But between now and December 31st, I expect that market is going to be in the peak of pain when it comes to assessments and what's on the horizon. Now, generally speaking, if some people are in pain and if people are not wanting to do something, that also creates a lot of opportunity. And so if you are a wise real estate investor out there, there could be some opportunities where people are just fed up, they're done, they just want to wipe their hands of it and move on. And this is where it could be a really good potential opportunity for you. So I hope this makes sense, but I want you to, ask what questions you have for it. Do you think that these new laws are a good thing, or is it just too much of an overburden for what people are what people are dealing with in the overall marketplace? Leave a comment about that below, and as always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that means a whole lot to me and helps inspire me to make more videos like this for you. You have a blessed day. Thanks.